Every week in the NFL is different. Teams rise and fall based on all types of factors. The members of the Roundtable gather each week to debate the top 10 teams, as well as determine the 5 worst teams better known as the Stinky 5. Hosted by Thomas Brown Jr., this is the Rankings Roundtable.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it's one of your favorite shows of the week. We are back. Now, granted, we've had some technical difficulties while we've taken a little bit of a week or two off. We've had ourselves our own bye week. It's okay. It's not illegal for us to have it. But had some technical difficulties. I've had some health challenges. We're back. Ready to go. Ready to rock and roll. We had a past weekend full of some games that were just completely insane. And we're going to dive into them all. We got some top 10 lists to break down. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, of course, as always, I did not come alone. I have my friends from Team NBS Media joining me on tonight's show. And it doesn't get no better than a fan of the Green Bay Packers who writes on them day in and day out. Now, the last time he was here, he was labeled as a candy by the name of the M&Ms. But we might still roll with that candy tonight. We shall see. First half of the M&Ms Club, I present to you Matt Brunelli. How you doing, sir? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me back. I'm happy and excited to be back on the show. I had a lot of fun last time, so excited to be here again to talk about some stinky fives in the top 10 current power rankings we got going on after this amazing weekend of football.
He said the thing, y'all. It hasn't even been a full 5 minutes of the show. He said the thing, the stinky. My favorite part of the show is not until the end, but my favorite part of the show is the stinky 5 list. Cannot wait for that. We get to have so much fun trashing on the worst teams in the NFL. Awesome time. But
there's a lot
before we get to the bad team, yeah, oh my God, there is so many. We got a team that hasn't won yet. Oh my God, it's a lot. It's a lot to dive into. But before we talk about the bad teams and poke fun at them, boo-hoo, we got to talk about the good teams first because we got to hand participation trophies around here. But without a further ado, Matt, what does your top 10 list look like? And then break us down as to why, man.
Well, okay, so we first got the Indianapolis Colts. All shocker. Before we went live talking about how the Colts are looking as good as they are. Daniel Jones looking as good as they are. The defense is flying all over the place. I think the biggest thing people are not talking about with this Colts team is that offensive line. Like, they lost everything in this offseason with Ryan Kelly and company going to Minnesota to replace that offensive line. And then, all they were really left with was Zach Martin. And it's just like, okay, what are we going to do? And they were able to reload and rebuild that offensive line and the quarterback, Daniel Jones, with a revised Jonathan Taylor. And they're taking the league by storm. And with another big win this weekend, with only one loss, these Colts are just better than what I give them credit. I mean, I'm shocked. That's all I can say. I can't say enough on. I keep expecting every week for this team to stumble, and every week they keep just surprising me and coming out of the gate even faster and stronger than the week before. So I do have the Colts at number 1. And moving on, I got the Los Angeles Rams. You got the quiet MVP candidate nobody's really talking about because of Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes. You got Matthew Stafford being the first quarterback throwing 5 touchdowns over in London this past weekend. Who loves those London games? I don't think anybody loves those London games. I hate the overseas games. Different story, but yeah, Matthew Stafford and company are playing great. I think that's a very quiet defense. I thought the defense would be a little bit stronger with that front 7. They've had their ups and downs, but I think they're going to they settled down this weekend and really beat down on those Jacksonville Jaguars, which was my co-host's number 1 or number 2 team when we were on a couple weeks ago, which everybody kind of laughed about. And now they're not in the top 10 for anybody. They've struggled these last couple weeks. But the Rams, they're number 2. They're playing really well. They're in their bye week. I think it was definitely needed. They had some injuries they're trying to recover from. Another one I don't think anybody really expected. We all love Vrabel and what he did, and should have probably never been fired out of Nashville and Tennessee. And the Titans are probably regretting that decision. And now you got the New England Patriots with their longtime player and Vrabel coaching. Drake May is having a hell of a season. Not having no sophomore slump, looking even better than he did his rookie year. And those New England Patriots are playing tough and playing really well with nobodies either. Everybody expected Travion Henderson to be this amazing running back. Dude hasn't been playing well. They're running with Ramondre Stevenson. He can't hold on to the football, but that hasn't stopped them. They don't have any great wide receiver. You got an old Stephon Diggs who the team loves, and he's apparently a great locker room guy, but he's not doing anything on the field. They're just winning. It's funny. It's like the old Patriots way. They have a good quarterback, and they're winning with nobody else around them. They have the guys that fit the system, and they're playing like a team, and they're doing well. The Niners at 4, CMC.
Yeah.
Apparently, Shanahan and company did some voodoo, said take the rest of our players away, just let us have CMC, and it's working. They're winning off of CMC. CMC looks like he did 5 years ago, and it's amazing. CMC is having an amazing season, carrying this broken 49ers team. But with Robert Saleh back at defensive coordinator, the defense has looked amazing. And you got the 49ers looking well. They should start getting healthy soon and get some of these players back. You do have Brandon Ayuk, who should be coming back soon. So that should be a big boost to the offense. Detroit Lions dismantled the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. Completely and utterly dismantled. Or was it Monday or Sunday? I can't remember which one.
Monday. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. Completely and utterly dismantled the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yes, I know they're not number one in my own division, but they looked that good Monday Night Football that they deserve to be at number 5. Since that beat down from the Green Bay Packers week 1, they have completely found themselves and are on their way back and looking good. Philadelphia Eagles barely beating Minnesota Vikings. Struggled with a little bit of back and forth in that game, but they finally started passing the ball. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith had massive games. The defense made some big turnovers. I think the Eagles are on their upswing after a two-loss streak. I don't think you'll see that again this season. They might lose one more game the rest of the year. I really do think this Eagles team is one of the best in the NFC. Then you got my Green Bay Packers. And honestly, I'm going to not lie to you, Thomas. This is probably too high for the Green Bay Packers. Even though they're the number 1 team in the NFC. But my God, these last 2 weeks against the Cincinnati Bengals and the Arizona Cardinals should have been easy wins. Yes, the Bengals just beat the Steelers, and that was huge. That makes that game look a little bit better. But Jacoby Brissett is a great quarterback. I'm not trying to dog on him. He's probably a better quarterback than Kyler Murray, but he's still an older backup quarterback. And he just slung the ball. I said it weeks ago after the tie against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys gave the blueprint on how to beat this Green Bay Packers defense, and every team in the NFL has now used that blueprint these last couple of weeks, and we have not adjusted it to stop it. Hopefully, we can learn to. Jeff Hafley can find it and stop this defense. But I do have my Packers. They do belong on this list, probably a little too high, because they are, the number 1 team in the NFC, and they're finding ways to win, and that's what matters. Denver Broncos probably again a little too high, coming back from a crazy win against the New York Giants with Jackson Dart and Scatterboo. They look like a completely different team with getting those two involved. The Giants really choked that game away. The Broncos, though, a little bit better coached. Bo Nix found himself, and they should have won the game because they have a kick. The Giants couldn't have a kicker who could make an extra point. They lost by a point, and their kicker missed 2 extra points. I put them on here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers I could probably flip them with the Green Bay Packers and put them at 7. I know they just lost to the Lions, but again, I still think Baker Mayfield's having an MVP season with everything that went wrong for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mike Evans went down again, which is horrible. He's going to lose his 1,000-yard streak for 11 years straight. that sucks to see. You know, Buka was hurt. They haven't had Chris Godwin. And now talking about Baker, who is just slinging it to whoever's on the field, but just couldn't get anything going. And I still like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, so I have them here. Seattle Seahawks coming out a win on the second Monday Night Football game against the Houston Texans, who are struggling this year. CJ Stroud just doesn't seem like himself since his freshman or his rookie year. But Sam Darnold is still Sam Darnold from Minnesota last year. It looks like the Seahawks did the exact right thing, getting rid of Geno Smith and bringing in Sam Darnold with these companies. Jackson Smith, the Jigba, is in running with Offensive Player of the Year. It's going to be him or Jonathan Taylor. They're not going to give one of these guys the MVP because we know the MVP should just be the MVQB because that's who it always goes to. But I mean, that's my top 10. I love it. I think it's going to be insane. I think every week these rankings are just going to get all thrown over the place because you just don't know who's going to be who this year.
Yeah, and the fact that I see the Niners at 4, I wish there was like a way we could like have like a shoestring hanging on to their name. Because it's like that's basically what you're watching every time I see the 49ers on the field. It's like CMC and Mac Jones. Like even Mac Jones started to come down to earth a little bit. Yeah. It's like Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, George Kittle just got back. We still don't have Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, maybe. And all of a sudden he don't know how to catch no more. It's like, what is going on? It's like they just keep finding a way to win.
I just think that proves to how great Kyle Shanahan of a head coach it is. And I think it just proves on how great of a coach Robert Saleh is. Be able to just keep coaching whoever's there, next man up mentality, and they just do it so well. And I honestly think Robert Saleh got a short end of the stick. I think the Jets are horrible at getting the right coach in the right situation because look at
Glenn,
Todd Bowles down at Tampa Bay. Look how great of a head coach he is after his. I don't think the Jets should ever got rid of Todd Bowles. Now look at Todd Bowles in Tampa Bay on my power rankings, and I think Robert Saleh is going to get another head coaching job in a year or two and just prove that the Jets made a bad decision getting rid of him.
Yeah, I feel like the Jets are synonymous with making bad decisions, so there's that. But it's okay. You know what? I talked about the M&Ms. Matt, you're not the only M on the show.
I see that.
We got a special guest joining us tonight. Now, we usually have the king of the mass podcast and Mark Wilson joining us. He joined us last time we were here. But tonight, it's a little bit different because in the fashion of LeBron James, we decided to add a little bit of nepotism involved. We have Mark's son, which ironically, his name is Mark, joining the show. How are you, my man? How are you?
Good. How y'all?
We're doing good, man. Okay, so we're new to the show, so in case everyone that's watching for the first time, get everybody caught up to speed real quick. All right, this is the Rankings Roundtable show. It is a week-to-week show. This is not what have you done for me 2 years ago? What have you done for me last year? This is what have you done for me lately? Call me a female, I don't care. It is what it is. All right. Neither less to say. We have our top 10 lists, and then we'll get into my favorite part of the show, the stinky 5 lists towards the end. My favorite part, personal favorite. So, can I call you Mark Jr.? Is that appropriate tonight? Can I do that?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. You know what? Even better, we'll just do MJ. We'll just get you confused with Michael Jordan and just call it a day. That's totally fine. All right.
Yeah, I like that one better.
All right, MJ it is. MJ, I'm pretty sure you have a top 10 list for yourself. Show us what that looks like and break it down for us, please.
I can bring it down.
Yeah, it's on the screen for you. We got nice and ready to go. We took care of you.
Oh, okay. Let me go to my list really quick. All right. So, my top 10, obviously the best top 10. I got my number one team It's definitely gonna be the Colts. The reason why the Colts, like, you see who they have in their backfield, nobody's stopping that. And as long as he keep playing like that, it's over with. He's looking like his 2021 form to me, if I'm being honest. Y'all still here?
We're still here. Keep going. Keep it going.
Okay,
You're good.
Okay. All right. My second team is definitely going to be the Lions. The Lions most definitely. Again, they backfield is crazy. Nobody's stopping that backfield. Jahmyr Gibbs is just too crazy. Then they got receivers like Jameson Williams. Then Jared Goff still playing good. Like, I don't know. It's looking like another good long playoff run for them. And then my third team, I got the Bucks. Even though they just took an L, I'm not gonna lie, it was very disappointing. I think they was gonna take the L, but they just took the L. Baker Mayfield looking good though. Even the players that's not starting, like Ted Johnson and them, I thought they looked good, even though they did lose. Like, that just goes to show they got a team. I feel like, and I see Mike Evans went down with the injury. I don't know how that's gonna go. It's kind of bad. He out for the season. And then Emeka Ibuka, once he come back, we just gotta see how once he come back, how they still roll. And Bucky Irvin, I don't know what's going on with him. I ain't seen him playing in a little minute, so we just gotta see how that's going on once they get their full team back. My next team is gonna be the Rams. I really don't. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, I really chose the Rams because of their record. Their record shows, but like, they play is kind of boring. Like, if you're being honest with me, the Rams, they kind of a mediocre good team. Like, they just win because they have to. My next team, I'm gonna go to Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles. I'm gonna just I ain't even gonna go too much in detail on the Eagles, but the Eagles, Jalen Hurts step up. I'm getting him to receive the ball about time. So he's gonna get up out of there in a little bit. But yeah, Jalen Hurts continue to throw the ball like that. Just Jaden and Saquon step back up. Like last year, they might have a Super Bowl run. The Seahawks, yeah. The Seahawks at 6. I like that because I ain't gonna say nobody like they cornerbacks, Tariq Woolen and them. They straight. They do gotta tighten up though. Yeah, pretty much all I got for the Seahawks. The Patriots. Yeah, I got the Patriots at 7. Yeah, I like the Patriots at 7 because I feel like Drake May he getting it done. Like he working smoothly. Like he getting better every week. I feel. And he got Stephon Diggs helping him. He only 6 months out of ACL surgery. And he going crazy. I ain't gonna lie. That's like Stephon Diggs keep man. They feel like he makes his play. My team. Aaron Rodgers is low-key going crazy, but he needs to start throwing the ball to his receivers more. All tight end touchdowns against the Bengals. The Broncos, I like the Broncos. I ain't gonna lie. I like Bo Nix. I just like Bo Nix. I feel like that's why I put the Broncos in my top 10 because I like Bo Nix. He's smooth, like. He like lucky, sneaky, athletic with it, and he can throw the ball. And then he got receivers like Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton gonna go up and get it. I ain't even worried about that. So yeah, I go ahead and put the Broncos at 9. And at 10, I feel like Matt Jones playing straight. CMC, yeah, he playing good, but like, you feel me? I done seen CMC play better. They just need to tighten it up a little bit, but their record, no, not bad though. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for my top 10.
Okay. Interesting. I got there is a question that I may have on one of the teams that's there, but we'll We'll dive into that in just a few moments. But before we dive into one of the most polarizing lists there is, we have a commercial break to share with you, and we'll be right back.
You are watching Team NBS Media. We are a digital media brand covering sports, entertainment, and lifestyle, with team members all across the country. Through our written content, podcasts, and video content, we bring you fresh and professional content. Interested in joining the team? Shoot us an email or DM. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Rankings Roundtable show. I am your host, Thomas Brown Jr. on the ones and twos. We took our bye week, which was 2 weeks, but we don't talk about it. We're fine. We're back, and I did not come alone. I have the M&M's Club, but the M&M's is a little bit different this time around. We have Matt in one corner, depending on how you're watching this live. Totally fine. I think it's this way for me. All right. And then we have the king of the math podcast in Mark, but we don't have Mark specifically. We have a clone. And by clone, I mean MJ. We have Mark Jr. joining the show with us tonight. And before I proceed to ask y'all the questions on y'all list, because, well, of course, it's our show. This is kind of what we do. Of course, I got to give the most polarizing list there is. And as Rich Eisen would say on his show, I'm going to apply it here. There's many of them like it, but this one is mine. This is what my top 10 list looks like and why. Now, I'm going to go from 10 to 1, like I always do. There's nothing different. So without further ado, here we go. We got Denver at 10. I kid you not, when I was making this list, anybody that was fringe 10, 11, or 12, you could have easily flip-flopped them. You could have put Green Bay in there. The list goes on and on, okay? But Broncos, there's no need to ignore that they did drop 33 points in the fourth quarter. That did happen. Bo Nix, who, if you had him on your fantasy team, I know he did pretty well for you because he had 279 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He had 48 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. So 4 touchdowns in total, and it all just so happened to happen in the fourth quarter. How crazy that was. Number 9, I got the Bills. Yes, they were on a bye week. I'm not giving up on them just yet. They're 4-2. Now, granted, their last loss was pathetic, and that's being very, very generous. But they get to be on this list because of one man and one man only. His name is Josh Allen, who's had 11 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, with him averaging 33 yards per game so far this season. So we're hanging on by a thread, just like another team on my list. But nevertheless, they're 4-2. They have one of the best records in the NFL. They're going to stay here at 9. But they're holding on by a thread. 8, I have the Buccaneers, who took a brutal loss and have even bigger problems to deal with Mike Evans being out due to injury with a broken collarbone, which sucks. But nevertheless, their defense did show up on Monday. Now, granted, you would say, okay, well, they got 24 points dropped on them. What kind of showing up did they do? They did sack Jared Goff 4 times. That did happen. They did intercept Jared Goff. That did happen. So their defense is doing their best to hold their own, given what they have with I don't even think the phrase injuries dropping all over the place is the phrase for the Buccaneers or for anybody in the NFL might have had. It seems like every time you watch the game, somebody's just on the ground and we're just going to commercial break. That's just throughout the entire NFL right now. What that is, what we pivot at to, don't know. Number 7, I'm going to personally do this because I have a coworker of mine who really loves Drake May. So, unfortunately, the soundboard is not working, so I can't censor this. But I'm going to do it anyway. He's such a fan of Drake May that every time I show up to work, the number one thing he says, no matter where we're at, Drake fucking May. That's the best thing he got. Now, I don't blame him. I kind of feel like Patriots fans are spoiled at this point. May last week, 222 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and the team has had 23 plus points in 4 straight games. We're talking about a Patriots team that just 2 years ago didn't know what it was like to put points on the board consistently. Now they're doing it on a more consistent basis, regardless of who you are. And that's awesome. The 6 I have the 49ers. I'm tempted to call them the shoestring 49ers, or in this case, the McCaffreys, because Christian McCaffrey's awesome. 129 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. He also had 7 receptions, 72 yards, and he's also had 50 plus yards in 7 straight games. He is awesome. Number 5, I have the Rams, Stafford. I don't think, and I'm gonna have to look this up, I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback who's had less than 200 yards but still had 5 touchdowns. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but Stafford made that happen. Incredible stuff. Devontae Adams, it seems like that connection is just a match made in heaven. 5 receptions, 35 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, sign me up for that. Number 4, look, it feels good to bounce back. All bias aside, because I'm not having them any higher than this. I have the Eagles at 4. Jalen Hurts was incredible. 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, a perfect passer rating. He's had 280 plus yards in 3 straight games. Look, I can't stand Kevin Patullo. He's about as close as we can get to Brian Johnson as offensive coordinator, but that is A-okay. That is A-okay. When we got a guy that is finding a way to take care of the football and find a way to lead us to wins, I will not complain. It's fine. It's good to be back in the winning column. I'm not gonna lie. Number 3, we have the Seattle Seahawks, which the way they played on Monday night, if you don't have them in your top 5, I feel like we're not watching the same sport, and it's totally fine. But Jackson Smith-Njigba, 8 receptions, 123 yards, and a touchdown. He is having a spectacular year. Might be in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year. Yes, it's that legit. And it's incredible what they're able to do. Number 2, I have the Detroit Lions. They're just playing incredible right now. Jahmyr Gibbs, 136 yards rushing, 8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. We also had 3 receptions and 82 yards receiving for Gibbs. So he's just all over the place. And then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god, if you will. 6 receptions, 86 yards, and a touchdown on the night. Impressive stuff. Then number 1, look, I gotta put my hands up. I laughed at Bill the last time he was here. He had the Colts at number 1. I thought he was joking. I thought he was taking some substances that were not legal. I thought there was a lot of questions to have, but I was wrong. The Colts are number 1. They're number 1 in points per game with 32, leading the league. And they have a not just a good running back. They have arguably the best running back in the NFL in Jonathan Taylor. Just to put in perspective of how great he's been doing this year, last week was his 3rd. I repeat, his 3rd touchdown hat trick. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the term hat trick, that is anytime in soccer, or football, I should say, someone has scored a goal 3 times. There has been multiple occasions in this season alone, we're only 7 games in, where he has found himself in the end zone 3 times in the same game. Incredible stuff. 94 yards, averaging 5.9 yards per carry. Colts number 1 on my list. And like I said at the beginning, there's many of them like it, but this one is mine. So, hey, it is what it is. Now, as for the lists that were shared before me, I do have some questions. Now, Matt, there's 2 questions I have for you. You have the Pats at 3, and you have Seattle at 10. Can you break that down for me as to how New England is as high as they are, and Seahawks, you're not really sure about them yet? Can you break that down for me?
Yeah, I guess it was kind of just I think really you could play the anywhere from 2 to 10, and you can put it in any order. I'm not going to argue you too much about it. I just kind of think right now it's a free-flowing kind of just whatever. I do like what the Patriots are doing a little bit more. I like how they're playing a little bit more as a full team. I think I think Drake May's the better quarterback out of Sam Darnold. I think Vrabel's a better head coach out of I can't think of his name right now for the Seattle Seahawks.
Mike McDonald.
McDonald. And then the Seahawks, their run game's an issue. I understand they have 2 really good running backs, but they're trying to force feed the one who's only averaging 2 yards a carry, and that's Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet's only averaging 2 yards a carry, and yet they keep force feeding him. We have a legit good running back in Kenneth Walker that you're kind of just ignoring. You're giving him his carries, but you're trying to make something with Charbonnet right now and not giving the ball to the hot hand Walker. So I'm kind of punishing them there a little bit with trying to force feed something that's not working and trying to avoid. I do like the defense a little bit more for New England than I do for Seattle. That's not saying Seattle doesn't have a good defense. And I just think New England's doing it in a little bit, tougher side right now. They got to play the Bills. You got the Dolphins and the Jets in their division. I get that. But, I think they're the NFC West, you got all the other issues with them, with their injuries. I know they got the Rams, and the Niners. I just think that plays the fact that I don't know where they're going to land. So I kind of just punished them a little bit. And like I said, you can flip-flop everything. You could put them where I have the Packers at 7, and I wouldn't argue. I do think it's a little blasphemy that you got the number 1 team. I understand that they struggled, but I'm the only one to have Green Bay's in the top 10, I think is the hotter take here. I mean, I get that they struggled against the Cardinals, but you didn't punish all the other teams who struggled and won. But you got the number 1 NFC team not in the top 10. I think that's the thing to take. They're finding ways to win, and that just matters just as much.
That's fair. That's fair, 1,000%. And it's legit. I just, like we talked about before we hopped on, this week was, some of these results were kind of like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like I was expecting for your Green Bay Packers, for example, when they saw the Arizona Cardinals on the schedule, that this was going to be like the final score of like, I don't know, 35 to 13. Like I didn't think it was going to be that much of a fight. And then you just see Jacoby Brissett turn into damn near Tom Brady. Is like, what is going on here?
I think the other thing too with the Seahawks is that they haven't. The Seahawks they've struggled to win.
That's right.
They haven't. Yeah. The only team they've beaten down is the Saints.
Right. Yeah.
New England has been winning in fashion in a lot of their games. I know we're talking about this week only, but they did just, and I know they beat Tennessee, but Houston's not that great, and they barely beat them. They beat them by 8 points. So I went with the heavier point spread. New England was better this week. It's this week, not every week.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Now, MJ, your list is killing me softly because we have the Pittsburgh Steelers who lost to not just the Cincinnati Bengals led by Joe Burrow. No, it was a different Joe. It was led by the Joe Flacco Sans is what I'm calling it this week. Damn it, because it's my show. The Joe Flacco Sans and the Cincinnati Bengals took the W against the Steelers this past week. So the fact you had the Steelers at 8, can you break that down for me, please?
The Steelers. I mean, so honestly, you didn't think they looked good though? Like,
you can look good all day long. You can't look good and loose.
What? Yes, you can. Well, the reason why I got them at 8.
Yeah.
Was because, like, the defense, we messed up a little bit, but every time we messed up, we was bouncing back, either scoring, getting the stop. Like, it was just always something that come after the mess up that would just benefit us. And we looked like we almost had to win. We were really supposed to have to win. They won off a field goal. That's the only reason they won.
Okay. I hear you. All right. Now that we got the good teams out the way, now it's time for my favorite part of the show. This show doesn't get much better without this segment. This segment, hell, I'm gonna say it, makes it. All right, it makes it what it is. This is an opportunity for us to not feel bad for the bad teams, to not give empathy or sympathy for the bad teams. This is an opportunity for us to trash on them, to treat them like exactly what they are, which is our stinky 5 list. Do we have the sound today? Do we have the sound for it? It's okay.
Joe's in the background looking, trying to figure it out.
Yes!
Thomas Knight made.
Yes. My whole week has been made. Thank you to our producer, Joe, in the background. My week has all been made. We don't even need to go over the list. The show's over. All right, I'm joking. Getting too ahead of myself. All right. Now, Matt, I'll start with you. I'm pretty sure you have a list of your own. And please, I beg of you, do not go lightly. Bring them to actually work because they deserve it.
You don't have to worry about it. Like, my old podcast mate was named the Hater, and I did 5 years of podcasting with that man. So trust me, the hating is strong in here. So I can easily go strong on all 5 of these teams, and it's easy. I'm going to start from 5 to 1. So obviously 1 is the worst team in the league. So 5, we got the Cleveland Browns. They have no idea what they're doing. Kevin Stefanski is not. How he won Coach of the Year twice is beyond me to this day. He has never done anything in Cleveland. Cleveland goes and, has 5 quarterbacks at the beginning of the year. Now they're down to 2, yet they still have the worst one on the roster in Deshaun Watson. How do you keep that man after everything he's done? And then also, here's the best part about the Cleveland Browns. Your rival, the Cincinnati Bengals, their season's over. Completely and utterly distraught. Their new quarterback, Jake Browning, can't do a damn thing besides turn over the ball. And what do? You're like, oh, hey, you guys are struggling? Here, we'll give you Joe Flacco. Hey, yeah, Joe Flacco isn't what Joe Flacco was for the Baltimore Ravens, but we're going to trade you in division. Now this guy is peppering T. Higgins and Jamar Chase with targets left and right. Just went for 4 touchdowns and 350 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns, how much more of a joke are you that you trade a starting quarterback caliber within your own division for chips and now watch him succeed? It's just so funny. Joe was so lost in Cleveland, couldn't do anything. Couldn't throw the ball more than 5 yards, and now he's in Cincinnati. Be like, oh yeah, I still have my arm. Hold on, let me just chuck that 40 yards downfield to Jamar Chase. Love it, Cleveland Browns. You're a joke of a franchise. I feel sorry for the fans. Tennessee Titans, you get what you get. You should have never fired Mike Vrabel. Now you fire Brian Callahan. It's your annual tradition to fire your general manager, your head coach every year. You just did it 6 games into the season with Callahan because your offense looks horrible. Cam Ward, who should have never went 101, sorry, I said what I said, has struggled. 5 forced or fumbled. He's lost the ball 5 times, fumbling it, not including all of his picks. He doesn't look like a starting quarterback. Now you're to the good old Mike McCoy, and he's a failure of a head coach back in the good old days. Tennessee, I'm sorry. I don't know if you win another game the rest of the year. There's nothing about your team that looks good. You just had to cut one of your wide receivers because he just said, I want out. I don't want to be here. And that was good old, Tyler Lockett, who came down here this offseason and said, oh, yeah, let me go down there with that Cam Ward guy. Let me see what he has. And he's like 6 games in. He's like, nope, I'm out. Get me out of here. Cut me. He's cut. And it sounds like he'll have another team by the end of the week. New Orleans Saints, I want to feel bad for you, but you guys, like, what does Mickey Loomis have on the owners? How is Mickey Loomis still in charge of this team? 20 years later, has done nothing in the last 10, but he is riding his coats high off of the Drew Brees. And like you said, what have you done for me lately? He's done nothing for you lately. He has failed left and right with draft picks. You go and draft Tyler Shuck in the 2nd round in the top, and the guy can't even see the light of day behind Shane Rattler. Like, what kind of a joke is this? And, I think it's funny that they're like, hey, let's go trade and try to rebuild for next year and get rid of money. And Alvin Kamara is being freaking loyal to you and said, if you trade me, I'm going to go sit on the beach somewhere. I got to give it to Alvin Kamara as a Tennessee fan that he's staying loyal to his team. But New Orleans Saints can't do a damn thing right when it comes to the draft or free agency. And they're always one of the most penalized teams in the cap space. Every year they're 50, 60, 80, $90 million in debt. And they don't have a roster to speak for it. Miami Dolphins, just fire Mike McDaniel. He does not want to be there. He is doing everything to get fired. He even just came out again and said, Tua's my quarterback. No, he's not. Tua is not your quarterback. Tua doesn't play like your quarterback, but you keep putting him out there. And yet you're going to stay here and keep starting and keeping Mike McDaniel. You don't want to do anything. Again, Brian Flores is right. When he didn't want Tua. You get rid of the wrong guy yet again. Brian Flores, looking what he's doing in Minnesota with that defense. You had a great coach, and you say, nope, we're going to go with the quarterback because that's who we drafted because our head coach doesn't want him. Let's go get an offensive guy. And then guess who was right? That head coach that was winning you games. Now you're back to being bottom of the division and being a crappy team. I don't feel bad for you. And then the Jets. The Jets are going to jet. My favorite thing about the New York Jets is that their owner, Woody Johnson, just said, if we can only complete a pass, we'll be fine. If you only complete a pass, you'll be fine. You know what you had last year? You had a quarterback who's playing at an MVP level again, Aaron Rodgers, who completed passes for you, but you did nothing else but had horrible things around him. And then you're going to blame the head quarterback. They don't know what they're doing. They fire the wrong guy all the time. They have horrible GMs who can't draft. And now here they are, every team calling them. They can't win a game. They'll probably go 0-18. They'll be the first team to ever lose 0-18. Because Justin Fields, how you think, like, let's go get rid of Aaron Rodgers, who had a very good solid season with 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's a career year for most quarterbacks. But you guys are mad because he didn't do well enough. And now every team's calling you, hey, what's Breece Hall? What's Will McDonald? You're going to have to trade away every piece to try to rebuild. And you're sitting here. My favorite part, I don't know if people saw this. Aaron Glenn comes and says, we're not going to let the team know who our starting quarterback is this Sunday for a competitive advantage. When the hell in NFL history has that ever not been a bad sign for an NFL franchise saying, we're not going to tell you who our starting quarterback is, Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor. Be afraid. We got to have a competitive advantage. So there's my stinky bottom 5. Jets, you're a joke. I hope to see you watch 0-17 or 0-18. And I'm just sorry to the Jets fans. I do feel bad for you, but you lay in your bed, now you get to sleep in it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Epic masterclass, Matt. Impeccable. That's what it's all about. Now, MJ, do you have another team that you want to add to this list? I know we have 5, but do you have another stinky team that you want to add to this list?
Another team. I'll probably add the Browns in. The Browns, because I don't think I put the Browns on my list.
Okay. You have another one? Or you want to stick? You want to stick with the Browns?
I want to stick with the Browns, just mainly because they really holding themselves back from winning. Like, I don't know what they got going on over there.
Well, look, I'm gonna add another team because I just love the fact that we went through an entire week where we saw every other team score at least once, and this team decided it was a great idea to put up a donut, and everybody's acting like it didn't happen. The Las Vegas Raiders, y'all are stinky.
Definitely can add them. I don't know what do they have going on.
I legit do not care if it was Kansas City Chiefs. I do not care if it was in division. I do not care whatsoever. It is the NFL. Something, and I mean anything. You could have put up a field goal and would have been like, at least they put up a fight. 31-0, and Geno Smith looks like he's a deer in headlight. Pete Carroll looks like he's just he. You ever see somebody that like you work with them and you're like they're wondering why they didn't just stay in retirement? That's Pete Carroll right now. Like he's just sitting there. You see him on the sidelines, like, you know what, man? Doing all this yelling and having to run up and down the field and having to always correct stuff on a Tuesday. You know what? Maybe it would have been a lot better if I was in like, I don't know, Hawaii somewhere with my Hawaiian shirt and chilling on a hammock somewhere with a sunrise. Like, I feel like life would be so much easier for him right now. But hey, you ain't gonna turn down millions of dollars if you're asking me. So I don't blame him.
Can we just name them the land of misfit toys? Geno Smith, Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, Jacoby Myers. I love Jacoby, but like they don't even want him there. Like the only good player, like they are the land of misfit toys in Las Vegas right now. Their head coach staff is the guys who were 30 years ago, and they're trying to let's just squeeze that last ounce of juice out of them.
I'll take it a step further. Before the season started, with all the moves they were making, I was calling them the Las Vegas Seahawks because Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, and it was like, oh, okay. I do want to let everybody. I do want to let anybody in on a little secret, in case anybody missed what happened in the offseason. The Las Vegas Raiders did decide it was a good idea to pay Chip Kelly $10 million a year to be their offensive coordinator. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. You can put him in the conversation for being the ultimate artist, but yeah, not good. Without further ado, though, it feels great to be back. This was awesome. We had our little mini bye week, but we're here once again. We do this every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. But before we get out of here, we got to tell you where we got our beloved guest from. Matt, I'll start with you. Where can they find you out on all your socials, man?
Currently, again, I'm only on X. You can find me at my tag right there below on the screen at Brunelli Sports. That's B as in Bravo, RUNELLI Sports. You can also find me at Team MBS Media. I had a new article just dropped today talking about college football with all the coaching cycle that's already happened down there with all the major jobs opening up. I talked about 5 big programs that fired their head coaches already. That dropped earlier today, so go look out for that article. I have more articles lined up, wanting to write. Definitely about today with Tennessee Volunteers head coach Tony Vitelli being the first collegiate baseball coach to ever get a NFL or MLB chance. So look out for that article. I'll be typing that up here shortly, so that'll be something else to look out for. And then of course tomorrow night we'll be recording the College Football Focus with Bill, my co-host for that, and that will be dropping Friday, so look out for that as well.
Appreciate you, Matt. MJ, it was a pleasure having you on the show, man. Where can they find you on your socials?
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for having me. You can find me on my social on Instagram at Mark1KK with 2 Ks. On Twitter at Mark24W, or it's from OrgV, or it's Mark W24. Either one, I forget sometimes. But yeah, those are my two ads right there.
All right. Appreciate you. And lastly, as the host of the Rankings Roundtable show, my name, as you see on the bottom of the screen, is Thomas Brown Jr. We do this every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can find me on Instagram, on X, __ Terrific Tom, __, because it's infinite around here. You can find me on X. You can find me on Instagram. I got to reset my TikTok because I might have to do a whole little switcheroo on that, start dropping content on that again. That'll probably be a little bit of fun. But you'll see me on there, Instagram, X, TikTok. You can catch me on there. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and joining us on all the chaos and all the fun. We appreciate y'all. Like, share, subscribe, follow us on all of our platforms, and check out our website at Team NBS Media, where we drop all of our great written content on the website. And we appreciate you so much. See you next time, and be safe.